Hello everyone,
Hi,
Žiga here from Mix and Luck.
and my name is Bojan.
And we're having another webinar.
We have the 23rd now, I believe. It's quite a nice
Yeah,
number.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is our second one out of the 23 that's done with the gear in our
Yeah.
office. So
I'm
just
blocking the way a little bit.
Ah,
but
you are? Okay. So hopefully you can see it. Yeah. So hello everyone. Just for people who are new to this channel and these webinars that we do, Mixanalog is an online service for we call it streaming rentals for analog gear over the internet. You stream audio and control the gear behind us in real time through a web application, so there's nothing to download or install. The audio that's generated by the gear is streamed to you, so you can make the best decisions in real time. And this way, you can rent gear instead of buying it, quite more cost effective, and you only pay for the time you actually need. Basically what we do.
So at the moment we're also giving away the 11 to 6 unit right here, this one, for free every day.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be adding more new gear every month.
Yeah.
One of which is going to be presented today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So anyway, I think the quality, I'm looking at our screens over there. It seems that the quality of the lighting might be a bit bad, so apologies for that. Just gonna talk just a little bit about this webinar before we kick it off with the demos and everything else. We'll talk about what's new since the last webinar, so the 22nd one, and about the plans for the future. Whenever you feel like you have a question or suggestions you want us to talk about, just write it in the YouTube chat and we'll be glancing over in that direction to see every now and then if there's something new, and we'll reply as soon as possible.
Yeah, so what, should we continue with the gear? Everyone loves gear.
Everybody loves the gear, yeah. We definitely love gear, so
Yeah.
let's go with that.
Yeah, we've been teasing you with this one for quite some time now. And maybe for those of you who are really observant, or I don't know if that's the right word, but I think there is.
Follow us a lot.
There's a new box right up there at the top with a quite fancy looking view here on it.
Yeah. I wonder what that is.
And those of you who've been following us for some time now, you probably figured out that this is the JARF Audio's G24. That might not need some special introduction. For those of you, again, who've been following us, we've been talking about this beautiful piece of equipment in length in the previous webinars. So yeah, in a nutshell, is a unit that a lot of mastering engineers are really raving about, and having just given it a run through these days, I would just say that the reputation is really well deserved.
I can concur.
It's like the first audio test is usually a little bit of a scary moment, because we have to know that the automation is working right and then nothing went wrong and all that. And when we heard the audio coming through that box, it's just instant kind of magic in a way. So yeah, I was really, really happy to hear.
Yeah, it's a cool unit, definitely.
Coming out of the speakers. So yeah, what's special about this box is it's very, very versatile. It's tweakable to oblivion. You'll find all the common parameters on it, like attack, release, ratio, and threshold. But additionally, there's also quite a range of funny little knobs that you don't usually find on other boxes. So you can really tailor the character of this box even further. Like for instance, there is a variable feedback and feed forward control.
Yeah.
Which is also in a way why we written that short article last week.
Yeah, our blog has a few articles, and the latest one was about feed forward and feedback topologies, and Žiga was the one who wrote it. So partly that was one of the reasons why.
I also.
You want to set the record straight?
Yeah, I have to make one edit at that post that I actually forgot to make, but I will do it as soon as possible. But yeah, that's out of scope at the moment.
Cool.
Let's continue on with
so
the,
yeah,
the
there's
G24.
some freaky stuff on the G24, like feedback, feed forward stuff that you've already been talking about. There's an emphasis control. There are 2 side chains, not just one. You can blend between them, which is weird at first, but when you think about it as preset A and preset B, and that you can blend between them, that's quite, very interesting. I haven't even seen many plugins that can do that, let alone hardware. So that's a very, thumbs up from us to Jakob Erland for having, made such a machine. Must have been really fun designing it. I must confess, though, when I saw it for the first time, having so many knobs, it was like very scary to me. But they are indeed, all of them are super useful, so I wouldn't take any of them away as such. They're really, in time, I think, when you use it for some time, then you think, okay, cool, maybe we could actually have that on, like, every compressor should have things like that. So anyway, we've prepared a sneak peek demo of the G24. You can't access it right now, but we'll give you a sneak peek anyway. So it still needs to be signed off by Jakob and a few of his friends. So this is a bit unofficial, but we're so excited about it that we decided to just give you a bit of a sneak peek, I think.
Yeah, actually, we're just doing internal testing.
Yeah. It's actually today.
Last 2 days. So yeah, the webinar is just in time to let you in on a little bit of our process. But yeah, at the moment it's.
Have we switched over to the?
No, not yet.
Okay, let's do that though.
Yeah.
Because I think people want to look at the nice graphics and not so much at our sorry faces.
Okay,
yeah, so this is what the GUI of the G24 on Mix Analog looks like. I think it's the sexiest GUI that we've done yet. It's very accurate. We've done a lot of work on taking a look at how the G24 is put together, and how the front panel is put together, and what kind of engraving is used, and so on. I've tried to replicate that as best as we can. So it's we're trying to make it as correct as possible, and I think the result kind of speaks for itself. I think it's personally it's the most amazing GUI we've done yet.
Yeah, I can agree. It really looks stunning. And what should we just give it a test run?
I think so, yeah. I think everybody's just waiting for us to push play or something. Yeah. We've had some audio problems in the past with demos. So just shout in the text if this doesn't work. This time Žiga has headphones, so hopefully it will be all okay. But I'll monitor the chat and I'll tell Žiga to stop if anything weird happens. So if you hear any echoes or something like that, we had this problem before. So let's see.
Okay. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing that's a little bit different about that particular box is that the threshold might be the other way around. For some people, at least to me, it's logical to twist it backwards for negative values, but to each his own. So yeah, the way this works is that the upper row of knobs controls one separate sidechain, the lower row of knobs controls another separate sidechain, and this control knob mixes between both of them. So right now we're at fully A, so only this set of controls is affecting the compression. So if I crank it up a little, so you'll hear it working a little more.
It's not obeying you. No, it's a very transparent compressor, I think.
Yeah.
very good for mastering, especially because of its transparency. I think that's why people like it.
Maybe I should
Crank the output.
try to make Unity gain if possible.
There are no comments, so either it's working fine or...
Yeah, I think that's the active one. If something's working a little bit funny, there's might still be some firmware problems or
right now this is
control problems. So this is
beta quality.
Really beta quality. Those are the usual controls you have on all the compressors. Threshold, there's ratio, the attack and release. You probably know all of them. Then there's this feed knob right here, and this one decides where you take the source material for the sidechain. So right now we're taking it from after the gain control element, so practically from the output XLR, so to say. And if I twist it all the way to the other side, you can probably hear the character of the compression change quite dramatically or drastically. So this is one way of defining the general character of this machine, but the beauty of it is that it's not just feed forward or feedback like full on, but you can actually mix the character that fits your material best.
Usually this is a switch if you even have this option. So to have it as a continuous control is like really amazing. We have our first question. It's about the emphasis knob, which we'll come to soon. We're just going through the controls very quickly. This isn't like a full-on tutorial. We'll make one of those later. So when this releases, you'll have a full video tutorial and an article like written a few like pointers, and there will be presets that you can start to work from for various genres and so on. So at least that's how we envision it right now. So I'll let Žiga take over now, and I'll just look at the second thing. Been away for months. Really. Thanks, Michael. Thank you.
Moving on with the controls. This elliptic filter here is actually a I hope I'm gonna put this right, but I think it's a quadrature modulation demodulator for MS, so it's not strictly MS.
What does it do? How does it sound? No science for me, thank you. No, I love science, but this was too much. It actually decides whether mid or the side channel has the most effect on the gain reduction. There you go. Yeah, that's understandable. Cool.
So that's why it says S and M here. So if I put it all the way to M, it should trigger the kick drum a little bit more. And now, okay, let's push it a bit harder. There we go. Now I'm slamming the shit out of the mid channel, so only the side is really prevalent.
Language.
Sorry. And now it should be practically mono.
I mean, it's really cool having it first at like noon and then deciding where you want to go. If you want for more stereo width and have more like information from the sides, influence the compression, or you just like want to slam the mono information like the bass and the kicks, or you want to be more ignoring that and having the sides decide the compression more. So, but I think you start at noon and then you decide which way is more to your liking. I found the extremes to be extreme, so I kind of find a third to each range in the plus and the minus. I mean, to the mono and to the side is like very interesting.
Although you could be using it in that configuration.
Right. Okay, I haven't thought about that. Wow. Yeah.
That's when
this machine really makes you like. Rethink compression, I think. I've just had another wow moment. Thanks.
Because now one sidechain is only looking at the mid, channel, and the other sidechain is only looking at the side channel.
Genius.
And the control mix parameter decides which one.
That's actually pretty cool because then you can also decide attack and release for the for the side and for the
it becomes a dual mono mid-side compressor in a way.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay, and now to the next control, the emphasis.
Yeah.
This is, I think, a tilt filter in the sidechain.
Could be.
So turning it in one way will tilt the sensitivity of the compressors towards high frequency content, and turning it into the other way.
That's the way it sounds like. I just remember when I was making my LA3As, there was pink. I think you could decide even between pink and blue paper, I think, for the opto.
Oh, so that's
emitter.
where it comes from.
I don't know. I'm thinking, it could be.
Yeah,
so you maybe could have two emitters. Yeah. I must confess, I haven't looked up of what this control actually does technically, but it does sound like you said.
We have to ask Jakob about it.
We have to ask Jakob about it.
Okay, so let's just take a listen to that emphasis control. So in blue mode, it seems to be pumping on the kick drum. And now it's fairly
it's markedly less compression also. So yeah, it seems like you're right. It's either I don't know, or maybe that's the frequency response dictated by the paper.
Yeah, could be. That would be super cool.
I don't know, but yeah, if so, amazing treat. But it works really nice to zone in. It's kind of like a sidechain high pass in a way, right? So you can tone out the kicks again if you will.
Actually, if this is a sort of a tilt filter, I'd say it's more in line with the API's thrust filters.
Yeah, those are like, but they shape the frequency response in a tilt.
In both ways.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like preset values, but it's continuously variable, which is amazing. And another control is this one.
Clunk, clunk.
So
that's what the machine
actually
is doing.
what this one does is it can make the audio path completely passive. So there's not even a makeup gain amplifier after the optical
element.
But in that case, the signal is a little bit lower, and the character is subject to the impedance that it's feeding, and that, in our case, are the Burr converter inputs.
Yep.
Where this could be really useful would be if you would have, I don't know, a pair of really nice mic pre's or line pre's, and use those for makeup gain, but at the moment we cannot offer 3 different microphone preamplifiers to make for a gain stage for this one, but it offers a different sound, and it's definitely, if you want the most utterly transparent signal path, this is the way to go. The active setting is just putting one really transparent solid state output driver that's impedance matched to whatever is in front of it. So this is the fail-safe option.
Cool.
That, at least to me, works pretty much every time, because it's as transparent as the rest of the.
So I'll just take a moment and speak a bit about the automation. The automation is our mastering grade automation. We've dedicated about 4 years of our life to automating analog gear. We've done everything from motors to relays to VCAs, optos, you name it. We've tried it. We've tried all of the tricks, like SSL has on their consoles. They have this thing they call the MDAC faders and so on. We've reversed engineered that technology just from the description and so on. So we've tried everything, and in the end, there are just a few recipes that really can be called mastering grade. And we wanted to have this machine and the rest of the things that we call mastering grade stuff. So that's all of the Rack 1 more or less, and all of the Elysia stuff, and definitely now the gyro of G24. This is all relays. So all of the automation inside for every knob that you see here is actually done with a relay string. So effectively, this is like mastering edition gear, where you have a switch for easier recall and for very, very precise stereo matching. You have for left and right usually something like 24 steps or 32 steps, and then you pick the precise setting that you like. We have that same thing inside the unit done with relays.
So it's 127 steps that are matched within 1% of resistor tolerance.
Yeah. So usually potentiometers come in 20%, or if you're very lucky, 10% tolerance, but we go down to 1% or even more. It's much more precise, and being internal, not going to the front panel and back, is also a bit better in terms of signal integrity usually. So anyway, we call this automation mastering grade, and that's what we're using on this machine. So all of the controls are stepped effectively, and all of the controls are done with precision resistors. And yeah, we've also heard this kind of control called audiophile control. So maybe we'll call it that way, but right now we call it mastering grade.
We like that.
So just wanted to take a minute to tell you guys how it's controlled, so that you guys can know what you're doing with it.
Okay, so is there anything else any of you would like to know about the G24, or should we continue on with another subject?
Well, I'm happy with the tutorial so far. We'll be doing a more in-depth one once the G24 lands. There will be presets in a tutorial video and a tutorial article. So there will be lots of content to get you guys started. And of course, it will be free for the first few weeks. We haven't decided how many, but usually it's 3 weeks. So probably it will be the same, but I can't say quite yet. But it will be free, completely free, for the same as our 1176 for 30 minutes every day for a few weeks after release. So, anyway.
I think that there are no questions about it.
There are no questions. Everybody's happy, so let's continue. 10.
Black Friday?
Yeah, let's talk about that actually. So, we hope that now that the G24 will be available on Mix Analog, you guys will be able to test it from all over the world, and you will have you will figure out just how good of a deal it is with having so many different ways to control compression. And speaking of good deals, we are also preparing one. Yes, you probably know we're just a few days away from Black Friday, and we've made a special deal for it. It's actually a subscription deal. So you're not getting the benefit of this just once, but as long as you don't cancel a subscription, you get the full benefit. So the way it works, we wanted to make a subscription that makes you care less about our MAT tokens and how many tokens you have and how many tokens have you used up and when are you getting a new batch of tokens and so on. And instead we just wanted to say, okay, look, just use Mix Analog for X amount per day, and that's it. And there's no additional strings attached. So effectively, this Black Friday deal gives you access to all of the gear that we have, as well as all of the gear that we will have in the following months, at a fixed cost of $150 per month. So you can use any of the gear, each of it for 40 minutes per day. So you could use the Fairchild for 40 minutes, then the Rack 1 for 30 minutes, then the Tape 1 for 30 minutes, then another Tape for 30 minutes, then the gyro if you liked, and so on. So effectively you can do, I think, right now 4 hours or something like that every day if you liked with this deal. So that's the idea. So we've got a bit more information on the website that we've just opened. So I'll ask Žiga to scroll a little bit. So this is the idea. We're having this sale in 1 hour and 20 in 1 day and 20 hours. It's a monthly sub. The gear behind us is worth tens of thousands of dollars, and you can have that for $150 a month for every day. And we've made a bit of a comparison between regular and the Black Friday editions. So, you guys can compare, see what fits you better. If you don't use as much, then of course one of our regular subscriptions is just as good. So you can use that. But if you use a lot, or you intend to use a lot, then or you just want the freedom of choice, you can use whatever you want every day. Then maybe this is the Black Friday is a better choice. We hope we will find some of you who would like that more. So. We're also in this webpage. It's blackfriday2019.mixanalog.com, where you can read a bit more about it and also see what we're cooking up next. So the Giraffe, the Elysia Rec series are coming to Mixanalog. So that's 5 more pieces that are coming and will be included in the Black Friday edition, as well as quite a few things from the rightmost image, where you can find some preamps and an EQ and 1176 that we already know, but there's also and a root tube that you already know, but there's also a compressor and a few other things that we are keeping secret for now, but are also in the pipeline. So right now we have a pipeline of gear that's already, I think, 7, 8, 9, at least 9 long. Yeah,
we have the work cut out for us.
Yes, definitely. For the next few months, we know exactly what we're going to make in terms of gear, and it's going to be a lot of gear. So lots of different types of gear, a good mix between vintage and originals. Gear from manufacturers, from current manufacturers, and some gear that we've made some time ago, and that has stood the test of time, has been in a nice big studio for a long time, been used on quite a few hits, which got quite a few awards in the region. Maybe not so important like a Grammy, but not far off. So yeah, we'll be putting all of that gear online, and it's included in the Black Friday deal. So hoping you guys will find it interesting. If not, but you'd still like something in this vein, put us an email, and we'll see if we can do something more custom for you. There will be a limited number of these available, so they might run out. We don't want to give out too many of those. Otherwise, there won't be anyone else able to use the system. But hopefully, we can find some good sweet spot. Also, this will only be available like now to subscribe to, only in deals such as the Black Friday time. Otherwise, it won't be possible to get on board of that. So, yeah, that's the situation. See you about that in the rest of the month, the rest of the week, as we'll be sending out some emails and some reminders and maybe some more info, as you guys maybe will send up some questions so that we can clarify some more. But for now, this is the webpage, blackfriday2019.mixanalog.com. Just go there, read about it, and decide for yourself if this is what you want. I think if you're a label or a busy professional, then I think it could make sense for you. And if you're not, or if it doesn't make sense for you, then we're also going to have a coupon for Black Friday time. And I can't say exactly what it will do, but it'll all be disclosed in this week. So
obviously
stay tuned for that.
It will make something cheaper for you.
It will definitely make things cheaper for you. Yes, we can promise that. That will be the point of it. So,
okay.
Yeah, sorry about the sales plug, but we need to live too.
Yeah. And we all love a little bit of Black Friday shopping.
Oh, well, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Well, I know I'm eyeing a couple of bits and pieces, so yeah.
That's good.
It's buying stuff season.
What else do we need to talk about?
We've
definitely done something else, hopefully. I think we can just talk a little bit about the platform itself. We've done a bit of plumbing on mix analog. There's been again a little reduction of the error rates. We're monitoring the error rates every week, every month, and so on, trying to make it that mix analog is smoother and more stable. So now we are getting to a situation where it's again improving, and we're very happy about that. There's quite a few things that we can't help with, which is browsers and internet and so on, but it is in general improving. So we've done quite a bit of work on that, and we still have more planned. So about if you're running into errors or stuff like that, just pick us up on the chat or send us an email. We always try to give you a fair and good session. So if you run into an error, just pop us an email and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, and I don't know if we've mentioned that in the previous webinar or not, because I'm losing track of time a little bit in the last few weeks.
Happens.
The precision limiter actually got a brain surgery.
Oh yeah,
it's and true. It now has a new brain. So
that's true. So we Frankensteined it.
Yeah.
The precision limiter has such a small box. We needed to buy a very small computer to go into it. And Žiga tried his best at the time, but what we have had when this precision limiter was done was something that worked most of the time, but not as good as the rest of the stuff we did. So the VCA, most of the EQs, definitely the Elysia stuff, and now the gyro stuff, ADU, and so on, they're all super stable. So, and the limiter was not super stable. It died every now and then. So Žiga did what?
Yeah, I installed another little computer in it, but now it's one that has proven itself to be much more stable and offers a little bit more connectivity and power. So it's the same microcomputer that controls all the gear that Bojan mentioned, so the Elysia stuff, the VCA, practically all the boxes that
we've done.
Yeah, lately. We've done and haven't failed us since we plugged them in. So we decided that would be a good move. So I've wrote another iteration of firmware, put in another computer into the limiter, modified the box a little so everything fits now. And it's been quiet. It's been quiet for the last 2 weeks.
It has not given us grief. So usually the limiter died every few days. Could be 5 days sometimes even, but sometimes it was like multiple times per day. We couldn't figure out for the life of us what was messing it up, but eventually we just decided to, call it quits with the brain we had in and replace it with the new one. So turned out to be a good move because it's been solid now for days. I mean, for weeks even. So I think mission successful.
Yeah.
Yay us.
I'm very happy about that.
I'm also super happy because I think if you've already decided, you want to spend some time with mix analog, you've uploaded your files, you've prepared everything, and then you get to the Rec 1, which is really a lot of value. I think you've got a compressor, a surgical EQ, a color EQ, and a limiter. And then if the limiter doesn't work, how are you exactly going to do your mastering?
Yeah.
Especially if it's in that weird mode. It used to die in a certain weird way where it had gain open at maximum. So you couldn't control the gain going into the pearls anymore.
It inadvertently rendered the whole chain useless. So
yeah, so that's why we're personally so happy to have this limiter now work finally the way it was intended to. And another nice side effect is that the metering is smoother.
Yeah, it's much more snappy.
So on a brick wall limiter, you want very fast updates of the meter, so that you can see if the peaks are being caught or not. And I think this is now much easier to do. Just from my testing, you can just, if you crank the gain and lower the threshold, then you can very quickly see when you're getting just a half a dB or something like that. But you can see it. It's
you can catch.
Flashing now.
Yeah.
So it's much easier to catch. So I'm very happy about that.
And another fix that's still, unfortunately, in progress, but I think that we'll finally crack it in a couple of days now, is the new volume units for tape.
Right.
We've had a couple of complaints about the very faint squealing noise. And we've figured out that one of our power supplies.
The story is that we wanted to make the power supplies a bit smarter and also something that we can knock out a bit faster, because we're all about audio, we're all about analog stuff and digital control and so on. Having to go through designing a power supply every time and figuring out which transformer to use and so on is just time consuming and lag that's not really much creative as much as figuring out the ins and outs of automation. So we kind of decided to go with off-the-shelf units for power supply. Turned out that that's, a good idea if you have a lot of time on your hands. Yeah. Counterintuitively, like you would think that if you buy a nice medical grade unit from a reputable dealer, that you'll get units that you can just plug in and they will provide good power to the rest of your circuits. Turns out that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So it's more complex than that, and we apologize, of course, for any inconvenience to guys who have a very quiet music. I think only those guys were really affected. If you have something like a rock mix, I don't think you can hear it at all.
No, it's actually the noise is somewhere around minus 80 dB or something like that. So it's really clear, faint, but you can spot it on a really sensible spectrogram. And I know that some really high grade mastering engineer type people are really put off by that. And also it's not exactly a standard to which we want to build audio equipment, so we want to get it to work better. But a temporary solution is a complete relay bypass of the input or the output stage, whichever one you.
I think it's just the input, but yeah.
No, it's separate.
But it's also just the input and also only on the telephone can, I think. We've tried the rest, and I think right now, after a few minor upgrades, or let's say tweaks to the power supplies we got, the input side of the telefunken is still squealing a little bit, but the output is not. And on the Studer, I don't think I can hear it.
No, it's dead silent.
Yeah, so it's just one control left that we need to get around, and we're definitely doing that. So this is like just if you guys have been hit by that and you are listening, we are on it. We are definitely gonna make another run through it. We might even replace those power supplies if we can't figure out how to make them work flawlessly. Then we'll replace them with the usual stuff that we do, which is a linear power supply with that we make on our own. Takes more time, costs more money, but it's worth it in the end for performance. We thought we could get the same performance or even better with some, if a pro designed it for medical grade stuff, then of course it would be great, but maybe not.
Yeah, it turns out
maybe our guys are better. That's what it seems to me.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
but yeah, if you spot those problems, if you double click on one of the input knobs, it's gonna reset to relay bypass of the whole gain stage, so you will have complete dead silence with no squeaking noises.
Exactly.
But I hope that this is gonna be fixed in a couple of days.
Hopefully.
One way or another. So
yeah, if not, then in a week we should have something. If we need to replace it, then I think it will take about a week to do it.
It's our mission to render this very conversation irrelevant.
Yes. Okay. All right, so I don't see any questions. It's been super quiet from the audience, so either we've made a very good webinar when everybody is just, yeah, that's good, cool. Or I don't know.
We're boring everyone to death.
Maybe.
Anyway, if you have any questions about mixed analog in general, or music production, working with audio, just shoot it in the comments. We're going to be waiting for you for a minute or two. Even if it's not directly related to this very webinar, we still love to chat about audio and music.
Yeah. The reason why I'm glancing back all the time is because someone's using the 1176 in all buttons in mode, and the needle is just slamming at the end. Can we maybe try to zoom in somehow? No? Can we?
I don't think so. I think it would require moving the computer, and I have like 7 cables attached to it for.
But I mean, would be nice proof, because we're unlike every few videos, we're called out for being fakes and not having real analog gear.
So, I don't know. Does it still occur?
Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes you still get this on YouTube, I think. For some reason, you'd think that would be the least possible place to get called out to be fakes for analog gear, because we have so much content on YouTube that shows that it's actual, it's analog gear behind us. But unfortunately, that's where I get these kind of comments. So I thought maybe it would be really cool if we could zoom in and see the action on the views, but that's okay. I think maybe it actually can be seen when it moves a bit. So let's see, any questions? Still no questions. So I think maybe it's time for us to go back to work, fix the power supply issues, and do some more stability stuff, and get cracking on the G24 official release, so that you guys can enjoy that as soon as possible. Do we have a tentative release date? I think we said 6th.
6th? So that's what, next weekend?
Something like that. Thank you for saying it was awesome. Thank you. So we'll get back to work, I guess. No.
So see you in 2 weeks. We're gonna be joining you. One Wednesday after the next Wednesday.
So in 2 Wednesdays.
In 2 Wednesdays.
In 14 days.
On another webinar Wednesday.
Yeah.
Hopefully with the G24 fully operational and free to use for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year? That sounds corny, like it's going to be a year, but it's actually just going to be a few weeks. So.
Sounds cool.
I don't know. Okay.
So thanks for watching. And see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye, guys.